Well, folks, we just got some pretty major reporting, and it seems like Donald Trump is currently in violation of the law once again, committing another felony. So, Donald Trump had his probation interview today with the probation department in Manhattan following his conviction. And of course, this is a pretty typical interview. They get background information on the defendant, financial stuff like that. It's just procedural stuff. It happens to any defendant convicted of a felony. But in this interview, Donald Trump made a pretty stunning admission, something that the public didn't know before this moment. And we have some reporting from CNN talking about this. You can see it on your screen right now. Trump said during his pre-sentencing interview today that he had a gun in Florida. So meanwhile, the New York City Department of Probation officials have questioned former President Donald Trump about an additional gun that had been registered to him in New York and his access to firearms as part of their pre-sentencing interview. A city official briefed on the exchange said. Of course, Donald Trump was convicted of 34 felonies, as they talk about at the bottom. And according to the official, Trump said that there was a gun in Florida, which is believed to be one of the 3 weapons listed on his New York City permit to carry concealed weapons. CNN has previously reported that 2 of the 3 pistols he was licensed to carry were turned over to the NYPD on March 31st, 2023, and a 3rd gun listed on Trump's license was lawfully moved to Florida. But contacted by CNN last week, Palm Beach police said that they were unaware of any gun that Trump might have had and that none had been turned over to the department since his felony conviction. Now, this is the important part at the bottom here. Trump's New York gun license was suspended after his arrest in 2023, and now, as a result of his conviction, his license is being revoked altogether. A New York official briefed on the probation investigation said the information on the outstanding gun will be, quote, referred to local authorities in Florida to take whatever steps are necessary. So the police are being briefed about this. And if you're wondering, like, well, what's the big deal? He was convicted and he has a gun in Florida. Why is this in violation of another law? Well, that's a felony. That's against the law. A convicted felon cannot own a gun. And we have some amazing reporting here from Ryan Goodman. He's a legal analyst on a variety of channels. He talks about this stuff. And it's, pointing out that a convicted felon cannot possess a firearm. It's a felony. And an indicted person receiving firearm in interstate commerce is also a felony. And this is the specific law in question. It's 18 U.S. Code Section 922, unlawful acts, saying, yeah, convicted felon can't have it, but specifically Section G1 says, it shall be unlawful for any person who has been convicted in any court of a crime punishable by imprisonment for a term exceeding 1 year. And obviously, Donald Trump has been convicted of a crime that he could be sentenced to jail for 4 years. So it seems pretty clear that Donald Trump is in current violation of federal law, and they're certainly taking it seriously given the fact that the police in Florida have been notified and they will be taking action on this. Now, will the police in Florida actually do the right thing and try to get this firearm back from Trump? I'm not sure. We'll have to find out. But it seems like Donald Trump is breaking the law again. And, if this continues, I think there has to be a conversation about holding him accountable for it. Because you have plenty of convicted felons out there who have not only been convicted with this statute, but who can't own a firearm. And so those rules should apply to them just like they apply to Donald Trump equally. And, I'd have no problem with it. I think the people who respect the rule of law would certainly have no problem with Donald Trump being held accountable if, in fact, it is proven that he is violating the law here. And there's some other very good points here made by Ryan Goodman talking about a potential violation of the law by Donald Trump here. I mean, look it on your screen right now. Donald J. Trump's condition of release in the District of Columbia, it says it is so ordered that the defendant's release is subject to these conditions. And the first one is saying the defendant must not violate federal, state, or local laws while on release. So, and that's a condition for his release. So if he is violating federal law right now or state law by being a convicted felon, by owning this firearm, his bond is revoked. His release is revoked. He's going to jail. Right? And this is not the only jurisdiction where this condition is present. We also have Florida. Subsection B requires that the release to be subject to the condition that the person not commit a federal, state, or local crime during the period of release. I assume the defendant, former Donald Trump, I don't want to say president, Donald Trump has no problem with that condition. And Todd Blanche, Trump's lawyer, said, I assure you he does not, Your Honor. Interesting, Todd. And then finally, in Georgia, The Georgia bond condition for defendant Donald J. Trump again says the defendant shall not violate the laws of this state, the laws of any other state, the laws of the United States of America, or any other local laws. So, if it is the case that Donald Trump has a firearm when he's not meant to, he's in possession of it, even though he's a convicted felon, and the law is clear on this, we read the statute, then I think he needs to be going to jail. I think that bond needs to be revoked. And why hasn't he given it over yet? It's been a decent amount of time now between his conviction to his probation interview. So why hasn't he given over the firearm? He was convicted May 30th, and it's June 11th. It's like around 12 days. There's plenty of time for him to give that firearm over. Why is he just bringing it up now in the interview? Why didn't he give it to police? Why wasn't there an effort to make that happen? I think these are valid questions. I think it's reasonable to believe, or at least talk about the possibility, that Donald Trump is in violation of federal law and possibly state law right now. And as I mentioned, if that is the case, then, that bail should be revoked. And look, the Trump campaign and Trump himself and his legal team have been concerned about this before, because do you remember that, that time that Donald Trump was at a gun show, I think back in 2023, and his campaign put out a statement that he bought a firearm? Yeah, and then they walked that back, and this was brought up in court. This was brought up by special counsel Jack Smith saying, quote, the defendant recently was caught potentially violating his conditions of release and tried to walk that back in a similar fashion, citing the same law that we just talked about. So Trump and his team know that this is against the law. You see it right here. They put out a statement, said, actually, no, he didn't buy a firearm. It wasn't anything like that, and there was no consequence. But now Trump is openly admitting to having a firearm in his possession in Florida as a convicted felon, knowing that that's against the law. I'm just saying here, I think, Ryan Goodman did a fantastic job kind of digging this all up, putting the pieces together. But if this is the case, that Donald Trump still has this firearm in his possession, has no intention to give it up, or anything like that, or even if he does have an intention but hasn't done it yet, then I think there should be some knock on the door from law enforcement about this. Equal treatment under the law, and he shouldn't be able to have this firearm. So we'll see what happens here, but really, to me, it seems like Donald Trump is breaking the law once again, which is really not out of the realm of possibility when it comes to Donald Trump and his team, So it is being referred to police. We'll see if anything comes of it in Florida, but if it doesn't, then get the big guys involved. Make sure that Donald Trump gives back this firearm. Equal treatment under the law. I think we all care about that. That should be a main priority with all of this stuff, that Donald Trump is not getting special treatment, that somehow magically he can't wiggle his way out of this provision that is put upon everybody else that's convicted of a felony. So if it's put upon everybody else, it should be put upon Donald Trump. So we'll see what happens. I'll keep you updated if we get any more news on this specific topic, if Donald Trump eventually gives it over or not. But we'll wait and find out. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here. Make sure to subscribe down below. It goes such a long way. Also drop a like on the video and comment. Let me know what you think about all this and if action will be taken against Donald Trump. And as I always say, I appreciate you. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you soon.